Hi there, this is Solitary Ronin from Solitary Ronin Films, and welcome to another video. Today's something a little different. It's music and favourite album covers. So it's has something to do with cinema as far as the visual image. Some album covers, like films, are plot driven. Some other album covers are merely driven by the visual. So, in no particular order, these are not ranked. These are just some of my favourite album covers, and I'll try and explain why. Even though, very much like film, sometimes you can't actually explain why you like a piece of art. So, I'm just going to go through some LPs. Obviously, I have more CDs. Because I haven't went back and renewed all my CDs in vinyl, because that would cost a ridiculous amount of money. So first of all, here's Rush and Hold Your Fire, which is just a vibrant red with 3 red balls. What do the 3 balls mean? I have no idea. There's 3 members of the band. This might be my favourite Rush album, even though most Rush fans hate it. As I've explained before in my favourite album video, I don't like the production in this album. I don't like the guitar sound, the drum sound, or the keyboard sound. But for some reason, the lyrics are just quite zen and quite moving and powerful. So it might actually be my favourite Rush album, even though I hate several aspects of it. Go figure. So this album cover, simple, striking, and just 3 red balls in a red background, but there is something striking about it. Because again, in the olden days of buying vinyl, a lot of it was based on the album cover. If you didn't know the band, there was no internet or Spotify to use to find out what the band sounded like. Simple, striking example. So next, it's another colourful one. It's the Good, the Bad and the Ugly soundtrack. Again, so this has a red outline, so you're kind of drawn to that. Yellow background, you have the 3 heroes, anti-heroes, as the disc calls it. And then you have this smorgasbord of action down the bottom. And obviously you have music by Ennio Morricone, which immediately draws your attention. But again, colourful. This obviously tells its own story. And then the 3 iconic anti-heroes of the film. Speaking of heroes, Queen's Flash Gordon. It's just all yellow with the Flash Gordon logo. What more do you need? Striking visual, just like the film. And on the back you've got Flash leaping in the air, full of joy. Again, another simple, striking, vivid album cover. Next are a couple by Slayer. Now obviously I first got into Slayer when I was 12 years old, and obviously that album cover is going to get your attention. There's lots of dark stuff going on in it. Probably a vision of hell. There's heads on spikes there. There's lots of blood, almost as if it was raining. The Slayer cover art on the early albums is very dark. And again, as a teenager, strangely enough, you're kind of drawn to that, and it suits the music perfectly. And I could have shown quite a few Slayer albums, but I'll show the other one, which is probably the most striking, and that's Hell Awaits, their second album. Again, you have like Disembowelment on the cover, which again always gets a reaction. Now, I'm not particularly into like extreme death metal or anything like that, so I don't have like Cannibal Corpse and any cattle decapitation album covers or anything like that. But Hell Awaits, even though again it's simple, it's kind of hand drawn, it looks kind of amateurish, but the actual lovely disembowelments that are being shown, it's kind of, there's something a little bit creepy and dark going on, and again the music fits this perfectly. This is Slayer's progressive album. And then continuing with thrash legends, obviously we have Metallica's Ride the Lightning. Again, a simple design, Ride the Lightning, electric chair, and you have lightning. The logo's lit up in that beautiful blue and white, and again, just such a simple album cover, but so effective. And again, as a teenager, you're kind of drawn, this is going to be exciting, this is going to be electric. Again, another thrash classic, Megadeth's Peace Sells But Who's Buying. Again, Vic Rattlehead, their mascot there. And again, a post-Holocaust world, beautiful reds and purples. I'm not sure why there's still jets flying, but never mind. And we have buildings burnt out and a lovely little for sale sign just for sarcasm. Again, beautiful colours, and again just a hint of what the music is going to be. Tells its own story. And finally in vinyl, King's X classic Gretchen Goes to Nebraska, which again we have space on the outside, and then it's like a portal into this strange world that we want to go down that road. There's a little owl sitting there, and even on the inner sleeve you have the story of Gretchen going to Nebraska. If you can pause that and read it, you're a better person than I am. King's X early album artwork is beautiful, and this one is probably my favourite, because again, who doesn't want to travel to an enchanting different world better than this one? So that's just some interesting vinyl album covers. Again, I'm just going to go through some CDs, try not to be all day. But here's Opeth's Sorceress, which you can see is a beautiful peacock, but it's actually feeding on human viscera, if you can see that. So that kind of tells you, there's going to be beauty in the music, but there's still going to be a little bit of a hard edge. Obviously this was Opeth after their death metal growls. This is pretty much clean vocals at this point. And even the back artwork is pretty stunning. So that's a lovely peacock eating human flesh. We've all seen it. Next, this is one of my favourite albums of all time. This is The Meters, the instrumental group, with Cabbage Alley, and the album cover is a cabbage in an alley. That is taking it quite literally. And even in the back cover, there's the band seem to be sitting with a huge cabbage in front of them. Simply one of the greatest album covers of all time. It literally says what it is on the tin. Let's go to Sasquatch, who are a kind of doom metal outfit, stoner doom. This is their album, their fourth album, cleverly entitled 4, and this is a kind of Giger, a modern Giger-esque. I just kind of like it. Again, there's not going to be very many scientific explanations of why I like these album covers. I just kind of do. Here's two by more doom metalers, Cathedral, which is quite beautiful. This is a Carnival Bazaar, and again, there's lots of things going on there. It's a specific kind of art style, but it is rather nice. Again, if these all were on vinyl, they'd look even better. And this is the Garden of Unearthly Delights, also by Cathedral. And again, that's a little bit a gatefold effect. Lots of lovely things going on there. That's a couple from Cathedral. Next we have 60s protest singer Phil Ochs with I Ain't Marching Anymore, and he's literally just sitting in the street next to some posters, and he's literally just saying I ain't marching anymore. Again, some of these are just simple, but it kind of tells the theme of the album or what kind of music you're getting into. This is the Japanese techno pop duo Charisma.com, and they're brushing their teeth, and they seem to have vegetables and plants growing out of their hair. It's a lovely image, and again, it's Japan, and in the back we've just got the tops of their heads. That just sums them up. Next, a couple of classic artworks by Roger Dean, I believe, who's fairly famous in the rock world for his artworks. This is a couple of Budgie albums. This is Bandolier, with almost Planet of the Apes, but with Budgies, obviously, because the band is Budgie. Just beautiful artwork, and probably my favourite, Never Turn Your Back on a Friend. That's just beautiful. Again, obviously some of these, because they're CDs, it doesn't really do them justice. I mean, again, if I had millions of pounds, I probably would buy all my albums again on CD and vinyl, the ones that you can actually get in vinyl, but that's quite beautiful. Roger Dean did a lot of work with Yes, but he did quite a few Budgie album covers. That's just quite beautiful. Next, slightly different. It's Obituary with their 10,000 Ways to Die, and that's a nice pile of human bodies with a bloody creature coming out of it. Obviously they make nice, quiet, beautiful music. Next is Testament and The Gathering. Again, there's a kind of Giger-ish thing going on with the two figures. They seem to have some viscera joined together. Again, it's just a lovely little image to help you dream better. Now, this is something completely different. This might be my favourite album cover of all time. It's the Staple Singers for their album The Staple Swingers. And do you see what they've done for the cover? They're on a swing. It's complete genius. And also in the back, there's just such a cool cover. A cool picture of Pop Staples there. It's just, I mean, is that not the greatest album cover of all time? The Staple Singers, The Staple Swingers. Next we have St. Vincent, and one of her earlier albums, Simply Marry Me. Again, just a simple image of Annie Clark, who is St Vincent. Sometimes you don't need complexity. It's just Marry Me, St Vincent. Of course, I was going to have to do this one. It's Spinal Tap. Obviously, I'll take it out of the sleeve so you can appreciate it properly. Because, I mean, how much more black could that be? None more black, I believe. It's like a mirror. Iconic. Obviously, Metallica ripped it off for the Black Album. Yeah. You have to have Spinal Tap in the greatest album covers, or your favourite album covers list. Next is Sown with Cognitive. Again, just a beautiful, simple, well, not a simple image, but a simple white on black. Somebody with a baby in the brain. There's a little character there, and he seems to be smoking butterflies. Obviously, Cognitive. That's straightforward. Here's another Sown cover. This is Tellurian. And this is an even nicer one with a rhinoceros eating little people, or maybe full-size people, and it's just a giant rhinoceros. Isn't that lovely? And you see them hanging there as well. And there's the inner sleeve. Is that not lovely? A lovely cute rhino eating people. Next is Sleigh Bells and Reign of Terror, which again, just simple. A pair of shoes, one's tied, one's untied, and one has a bit of blood at the front. I don't know why I like that, it's just simple, white background, but it tells its own story. You can imagine who's wearing these shoes and what they've been up to. Again, just a simple storytelling device. Next is Sepultura with Arise. Again, this is almost a little bit Lovecraftian. Even the name Arise, there's something that's sitting in the depths. So again, that forms its own kind of version of storytelling, its own kind of storytelling. It's just a cool cover. Next is Samsara Blues Experiment, Waiting for the Flood. This is actually a painting by Basinski, a Polish painter who might be my favourite painter. And this is a reproduction of one of his paintings. It's just absolutely beautiful. That's all I have to say about that. It's just wonderful. You should check out Basinski if you find him. His paintings are really good. Next is Alice in Chains with their seminal album Dirt. Again, just that different colours of orange. The woman kind of half buried in the dirt. Again, simple, but hauntingly effective. AC/DC, Highway to Hell, a band that don't really have many great covers or interesting covers. This one is more of, you can kind of tell by that picture that they're a little bit dirty, up to no good, and that's kind of the Bon Scott era of AC/DC, and it kind of encapsulates them perfectly. Angus with that surly look and his little devil horns. So not a great album visually, but more kind of, this is the band, and it kind of encapsulates the band and what they're all about, really. Next, another Queen one is News of the World, which again, because this isn't vinyl, doesn't give it the full effect, because that should be on the front as well. And that's Queen killed and attacked by this giant robot, which again, you just kind of want to know who built it and why. Apart from anything else, it's one of their best albums, apart from Get Down Make Love, which is arguably one of their worst songs if you don't count the whole of the Hot Space. Next is Tindersticks, first album, and again that's just because it's a painting of a flamenco dancer, maybe, a beautiful big red dress, and you've just got these couple of characters in the background. It's just an example of just a beautiful album cover that doesn't really have too much to do with the music, but it's just aesthetically pleasing. Next we have Dan Terminus and Automated Refrains. This is just a colourful, strange world album cover, and again it is just bright colours and strange landscapes, which kind of fits the music, because again it's kind of just haunting electronic space music almost, and that kind of fits that cover quite well. There's Trouble with Sam 9. I'll take the shiny sleeve off. So there you just have a tree. Again, that's lots of people and a nice skull made out of the people. Again, they're Doom pioneers, and that's a nice lovely doomy cover. Do a couple of Mars Volta album covers. Again, you could pretty much do all the Mars Volta album covers, because I'm sure they all have hidden meanings to the members of Mars Volta. But again, that's just striking, people in cars with scarlet hoods on. And that's the back of a man with a scarlet hood on. And their seminal debut, Delouse in the Comatorium, with a gold head shining a light out of it. I have this t-shirt. Next is Machine Head's The Blackening, and that's the original cover. It's just that old engraved image, and that's the mirror that reflects not, and there's a nice image of Lucifer eating people in the back, because they went for that kind of medieval etching kind of look for the design in this album, and it's really quite lovely. Like the 3-disc special edition has a kind of withered leather look as well. Next is Mark Lanegan Band and Blues Funeral. I just like that cover. I don't know why. You should try and read Mark Lanegan's autobiography, which is, it's hard going because it's basically all about his survival guilt. You know, he was friends with Kurt Cobain and Lane Staley, the singer of Alice in Chains, who died of a drug overdose. He pretty much took drugs with them, gave them drugs, pretty much gave drugs to everybody in the 90s almost. So his music is very dark and full of, like I say, survivor guilt. So even although these are roses and flowers, because it's called Blues Funeral, it's darker, so the actual dark background is probably more prevalent than the actual brightness of the flowers. Next, one of my favourite bands, the Church of the Cosmic Skull, with their wonderful 2020 album, which came out in February 2020, before this whole COVID thing exploded with Everybody's Going to Die, which does have the title track's fantastic, and also has Living in a Bubble. Again, this was recorded before COVID, but again, it has that tongue-in-cheek of the band. They do go for the cult thing, but again, simple, but shows you what the band's like. And again, the music is wonderful and so prescient. Next is another just fun one. It's Creedence Clearwater Revival and Cosmo's Factory. It's just them hanging out in the studio, and one of them's on a bike. that's literally why I picked it. Next, Chevelle's latest album, Niritas, which again is one of those that's a seemingly a door to another world, or a rolling away of the stone in the cave to come out in another world. Again, stories within stories. That's just a nice little science fiction cover. Mars Volta again with Bedlam and Goliath. This is their album, their whole album, which is about the time they used the Ouija board and was plagued by a spirit for their whole tour, allegedly. It's a lovely album cover. As is Octahedron. Very colourful. And on the back, there's that. Obviously we saw Metallica earlier, and there's just their classic Master of Puppets with all those crosses from Oh What Lovely War going back and back and back. That's just, again, a simple design but really effective. And we might as well do another classic Metallica album, And Justice for All. Again, simple idea but bleak. Pretty much like the album, one of the bleakest albums you'll ever listen to. Chelsea Wolfe, Abyss. Again, simple. It's just Chelsea falling into an abyss. She does like her dark stuff, and that's just a nice atmospheric album that kind of sums up her material. Honeycrack and Prozac. Again, every picture tells a story. You can make up your own story about what's going on in this living room. Halloween, Keeper of the Seven Keys Part 2. Again, we've got a human hand with the key, non-human hands trying to get it. We've got faces in the water here. Lots of things going on. Obviously inspired by Tolkien, the whole Keeper of the Seven Keys, one of the best 14-minute songs you'll ever listen to. And a lovely cover. Again, one that would look even better on vinyl. Next is Grinder Man, which is the Nick Cave side project. And again, I've just chosen this because it's a wolf in a very nicely furnished apartment. This one's even more simpler. This is Grand Tone Music and Go to Hell. And it's literally a baby with a t-shirt that says Go to Hell. See, sometimes you don't have to be complicated. The next one as well. Thea Gilmore's The Counterweight, which she kindly has a signed copy of. Again, white background, a grenade on one side, a dove on the other, on a balance, on a counterweight. I mean, it's, sometimes simplicity is the best way. Answers in a postcard. This one is just because it's a cool picture. It's Gangstar Hard to Earn. I mean, it's a fantastic album. That's the only reason I picked it, just because it's a very cool picture. Funkadelic, Uncle Jam Wants You. Again, simple, effective. George Clinton. Obviously the play on Uncle Sam. In the era of the Black Panthers. It's just a wonderful album cover. And a lot of the Funkadelic ones are really busy. So here's One Groove, One Nation Under a Groove, which is a nice play on the Iwo Jima pose. And obviously on the back, and in the inner linings you've got lots of things going on. But all the Funkadelic ones are all colourful and interesting. Where are we going to go? How about a little Frank Zappa Overnight Sensation, which again looks better on vinyl, because if you open it up, that's what it should look like. And again, there's lots of things going on. Got an effects pedal there. So obviously artwork of a certain period was made for vinyl, because obviously CDs hadn't even been thought about when these albums were made, so it was all about the vinyl art. And obviously sometimes on CDs it doesn't really transfer, and that's probably a perfect example because you only just get one square out of it. Pink Floyd, Wish You Were Here. Again, really simple but striking. Two men shaking hands, but one of them's on fire. Parliament, George Clinton's other project. The Clones of Dr. Funkenstein. How can you not like that? Obviously there's a whole bunch of lore about Dr. Funkenstein and all of the characters on Funkadelic Records and Parliament Records. Paris, Sonic Jihad. This is one of the alternate sleeves because the cover is a jumbo jet going into the White House. And this is the alternate cover with George W. Bush as the son of the devil and the jumbo jet going into the White House. And we have Puscifer, Conditions of My Parole. If you don't know, this is Maynard from Tool, one of his side projects, featuring one of his alter egos. Also with a sense of humour. And then the remix album is all remixed up and they've swapped faces. Of course, as you do. I'm cheating because this isn't an album, it's a single for Winona's Big Brown Beaver by Primus. Again, this is an example of pure simplicity because it's just Winona riding in a bike with her big brown beaver. The Veils, Total Depravity. Again, I could be wrong, but it kind of looks like a Goya. Goya's black paintings, I think they're called. It might be a Goya, it might not, but it kind of looks possibly like one of Goya's black paintings. Somebody can let me know in the comments below. But again, that goes with certainly the title, and it goes with the style of music. The Veils are wonderful, and that's Total Depravity, which is a great title. It's another Trouble, The Skull. Again, I'll show you the non-shiny cover. Again, it's just moody, atmospheric, and doomy, which is exactly what the music's like. Another Funkadelic, the famous Maggot Brain, with a woman buried up to her neck. You don't know whether that's agony or joy, that scream. Probably a bit of both. This is Kimberly Freeman, Into Outer Space. I just like it because it's really colourful. As is Kimberly herself, of One Eyed Doll fame. That's one of her solo albums. Donald Fagen, of Steely Dan fame with his solo album Sunken Condos. Again, it's just beautiful colours, lovely underwater scene, just relaxing and atmospheric, just like his music. Probably the best track on this is Slinky Thing. The Doors in Morrison Hotel, it's literally the Doors just sitting in Morrison Hotel. Just brought this one up because it contains my favourite Doors song of all time, Peace Frog. If you've never heard Peace Frog, go listen to Peace Frog, it's absolutely fantastic. Next, Cypress Hill Temples of Boom, Cypress Hill 3. Again, it kind of does look like a metal cover, just with this hooded figure going up these stairs into this strange temple. What on earth goes in there? Well, if it's Cypress Hill, it'll be smoking weed, but... Next is just a daft one. It's the Cybernetic Witch Cult in Spacious Cretaceous, which looks like a dinosaur straddling a bus. I'm not quite sure what it's actually supposed to be. And on the back is, of course, the High Wizard, King of the Horsehead Nebula. Very fun DIY kind of album cover, but very colourful. I talked about the Cabbage Alley, with the Cabbage in an Alley, the Staple Singers, Staple Swingers. This one is another one of my favourites. This is the Crusaders, the fantastic 70s instrumental group, with these Southern Knights, and they're dressed as knights, having a lot of fun. Is that not a brilliant album cover? Answers in a postcard. Next we have a few Coil albums. This is Unnatural History, which has got a lovely half human, half skeletal thing going on. This is Unnatural History 2, Smiling in the Face of Perversity, which is a lovely title as well. Again, a lovely embraced couple, and there are a couple of embraced skeletons with what looks like fire on the ground. Lovely. And probably my favourite Coil album and favourite Coil cover is Astral Disaster. Lovely. And on the back, this is a close-up of the foot for some reason. But that's a lovely cover, isn't it? Leonard Cohen is a very special artist to me. Perhaps didn't have many great covers, because very much like people like Bob Dylan, most of it was Leonard Cohen on the front cover. But this was his posthumous album released by his son. It's just black with gold letters, Thanks for the Dance, Leonard Cohen, and that is all you need, and just a perfect thank you to the man for enriching our lives with his poetry, novels and music. So again, perfect example. Sometimes simplicity is the best medicine. Speaking of which, here's Booker T and the MGs, Green Onions, and there's green onions in the cover. I don't know whether they went to the same company that did Cabbage Alley for the meters, but there's certainly definitely a simple look. It's not quite as striking as Cabbage Alley because it's not an alley, but it is green onions. Next up, the iconic debut from Black Sabbath, with that creepy character in the foreground, and it's just a very, bit like the music, especially the title track, it's just a very creepy, unsettling little bit of the country with a very strange looking little character. For 1970, that must have spooked people out. Then we have one of my favourite bands, certainly probably my favourite band from Japan, Ninja Aizu, or The Human Chair, with this album cover, which I cannot explain in any scientific way why I like it so much. It's literally the three of them just sitting. Well, one of them standing up. I have no idea why that album cover is just so good. This is their usual get-up, by the way. This is what they look like when they perform. We have the kind of monk character, the professor, and a kind of Yakuza / Elvis impersonator. They're a fantastic power trio. Doomy, Black Sabbathy, just riffs a go-go. But I just absolutely adore that album cover, and I really don't know why. They're just there. And here's another one by them. And then here's one where they did a collaboration with another band. And on the back, they're all in Hawaiian garb. If that doesn't pique your interest, I don't know what's going to. Next we have Nails with Abandon All Life. And in the back you have the nice Hatred ad infinitum. That's just a lovely album cover and a lovely sentiment. I'm sure you'll agree. Then we have Nail Bomb Point Blank, which is fairly direct and to the point and fairly brutal, just like the music. You have Ace of Spades by Motorhead. Again, just an iconic album cover. People thought when it came out they were a Mexican band. But it was actually in a quarry somewhere in the Midlands. I think they took that. Just an iconic image and an iconic cover. Next is The Misfits' Legacy of Brutality, which isn't a great cover, but I just love it for the title. It's simple. Misfits, there's the Misfits skeleton, and Legacy of Brutality is just a fantastic album title. And then we have the music of Russ Meyer, which I'll show very quickly because the video might get taken down. Again, that pretty much tells you what the films might be like, but they are wonderful album covers. Next is a couple of album covers by Tool. That's Lateral Alice, which is just an astounding album and an astounding artwork by Alex Gray. And then their latest album, Fear Inoculum, which they released as this ridiculously expensive edition, which had a little video screen in it, but the artwork itself is quite wonderful. It also has a lovely booklet. This is sounding like a film review. Beautiful artwork again, done by Alex Gray. Just a lovely package. It was ridiculously expensive though. And again, look at that. Strangely enough, this is the same kind of quality as the new kind of colourful Arrow video slipcovers. So it is related to cinema, this video, in some way. Because this is all about presentation and aesthetics, which, strangely enough, is a common theme in cinema. Next is Steely Dan with The Royal Scam, which is probably my favourite Steely Dan album. Again, you have this homeless character, and you have these tower blocks with snakes and such at the top of them. That's a simple idea, but effective. Next, apologies if everybody's eyes go weird. This is Red Fang with Whales and Leeches, which has a really deep, strange lenticular. It has mountains with flying saucers in the back. And it does actually have some beautiful images of nature on the inside. But that lenticular cover is quite startling. But it does have some really nice wildlife shots as well. As well as the weird lenticular. Next is Rage Against the Machine's self-titled debut with that iconic monk self-immolating. Imperial Teen with Seasick, which again, bright colours, a little image of a dolphin, bright colours in the background, and then the band just relaxing in their pants. Again, Iron Maiden, I can have showed a lot of Iron Maiden covers. Killers, I think this was the first cover that I saw, and automatically you're like, hello, that seems of interest. There's Eddie. He has went through various forms, as we know. The iconic Number of the Beast, with Eddie controlling the devil who's controlling us. Peace of Mind, which might have been the first Iron Maiden album I bought. Eddie in a padded cell. And he's been lobotomised. He's been through a lot. And Power Slave, iconic Egypt-based artwork by Derek Riggs. Again, even better on vinyl. Somewhere in Time, which is the futuristic one, which has so many Easter eggs in it, in the cover. You can spend a good 10-15 minutes going through all the little details. And their latest album, Senjutsu, with Eddie as a samurai, which is beautiful as well. Very striking. And just a couple more. Creator, Coma of Souls. Again, you know what you're getting into with an album cover like that. And just to show a contrast with all these wonderful album covers, I'll show you one from Iron Maiden, which is not a great album cover. It's Dance of Death. Now look how terrible that is. You have a little baby standing on a white dog, but not really standing on a white dog. I mean, how the band thought that was a good idea and they signed off on it. It's like early computer graphics. I think this is from, well, I don't know when it's from. It should go back. The early 2000s, I think. That's a perfect example of an Iron Maiden album cover, which is not great. It's bloody awful. So thanks very much for watching this off the cuff and off piste video. Hopefully you enjoyed that. Please let me know in the comments some of your favourite album covers. Again, not necessarily of your favourite albums, just your favourite album artwork. And why, but again, as you've seen, there's some album covers that I just can't explain why I like, I just like them. And that's the same, strange enough, with films. So it's not that far away from a film video, even though it's a different kind of art. So thanks so much for watching. Please let me know in the comments, as I said. Like and subscribe if you feel the urge. And hopefully join me again for more film-based things, as this is a film channel. This is Solitary Ronin from Solitary Ronin Films. Slightly confused about what my wheelhouse is. Saying farewell.